Cosmic Soul family. Today's conversation, we're going to be looking at the new moon in Gemini on June 14th, 2026. We're going to be looking at some of the aspects and maybe some of the themes you can be working with during this time. So I'm going to go ahead and show the chart. There's going to be some different glyphs on this particular astrological wheel. So don't get overwhelmed by all the glyphs. I'm still learning these myself. So I'm going to screen share some of the aspects that are happening. And we're going to be talking about maybe some of the themes that we need to be looking at. So we can see here that the new moon in Gemini is going to be exact again at 10:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the United States. This is a new moon is always when the sun and the moon are conjunct one another, and they're going to be conjunct at 24 degrees 3 minutes. And so the major aspects that wanted to be looked at today that I found very significant was there's some sextiles happening. So you look at the degree points and then you count how many degrees, whether it's 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, right? These are called the aspects. So there's going to be a sextile happening between this new moon frequency with the wounded warrior, the wounded Chiron, the wounds of the self, the wounds of identity of the I am worthy to be here. This is an Aries. And it's going to be also exact that's at 29 degrees, and it's going to be exact sextiling Eris, which is Mars's sister, right? So this is the female warrior, and it's talking about the divine feminine rising, allowing more thoughts about what it means to allow the divine feminine. What is the divine feminine? This is not so much about a gender; it's about a frequency. The feminine is the magnetic aspects of us. So where we are magnetizing our sense of self-worth, identity, and because it's next to Chiron, it's actually in its last degree points before it ingresses into Taurus here at the end of the month. So, Chiron's been in Aries for the last 7 years, almost 8 years, and it's been working with us in our sense of identity, right? The I am presence. I am worthy to be alive. I am worthy to be here. I am worthy to have a voice, to have a vision, to begin things, because Aries is initiation. And then opposite this new moon is going to be Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. And this is also an aspect of the feminine. And if you study the energies of Black Moon Lilith, it's where she won't be controlled, right? She won't be dominated. And this is what in Sagittarius: beliefs, perception, ideas, higher knowledge, higher learning. And so, natally, Sagittarius is always opposite Gemini in the chart. And so Gemini are our thoughts. Have we been thinking thoughts that do not put us in our power, our personal power? And are our thoughts not aligned with the people in our lives anymore? This is stepping into our own personal power, our own sense of belief system, identity, perception. And so this opposition is saying, hey, you may need to change your community groups, because Gemini rules neighbors, everyday travel, brothers, sisters. I think of like early family, early education. And Sagittarius is saying, hey, I have a new belief system. I have a new way of perceiving this reality. And I have a voice. I get to say, I get to speak what I believe to be true from my own experience, from my sense of identity. It's changing my sense of self-worth, because we also have Mars in between the sextile, which it's also semi-sextiling. So it's right next door. Think of like a next door neighbor. How many of us know our next door neighbors, right? Do you know their values? Do you know their belief systems, their practices? And so this is saying you got to stand up for your own perception now, because things are changing. There's a new perception generator happening because Uranus is right there. Uranus is change. Gemini is the mind, thoughts, how we talk, how we see the world. And it's trining Pluto in Aquarius, and Pluto's our power. It's groups, communities, organization, it's humanity. So are you having new ways of seeing your human self, the human family? Are you having a new relationship with new group members, right? Or, I'm thinking of like old friends you might have had in childhood who you just don't have anything in common with anymore because your beliefs have changed. You're starting to see reality in a new way. And there's also a sextile happening too with this new moon frequency. With this is the symbol for Ascleptus. And Ascleptus is Ophiuchus in the constellations. Ascleptus was a healer. He was the one that was able to bring somebody back from the dead, right? By setting the snakes. That's why this symbol looks like it's two snakes coming up, the central spine, which is like the column of your vertebrae. So it's the ability to say, hey, I can be sovereign in the way I choose to heal and the way I choose to take action on my health. Because Leo is ruled by the sun. So we're being illuminated, new ways, new data, new information on how the body works, on how healing works, on perhaps, pharmaceuticals, on natural ways of healing the body, right? I'm not a doctor. I'm not anything like that. I'm just somebody that's looking at the energy of these are possibilities that can be talked about and discussed at this time because sextiles are a harmonious flow, right? Harmonious friction. And so we're being called right now, especially with Mars still in Taurus, to take action on new ways to be in the body, new healing modalities, because this new moon is going to be, or Uranus is trining Pluto, perhaps using sound and frequency, because these are also what Uranus and Aquarius rule is the nervous system, it's the mind system, it's frequency, it's sound, vibration. So we're starting to see, there's all kinds of breakthroughs and sound frequencies and related to health and to systemic long term, because Saturn's here, long term illness is starting to be awakened and instantly, I would say instantly healed, if you believe it, right? Because there's the black moon. Do you believe it's like the placebo? Do you believe that your body can heal through using sound frequency, sound vibration? I think of tuning forks or sound bowls, right? Do you believe your body can heal based on the harmonic vibrational signatures that maybe your body was disaligned or out of harmony, out of tune? And can you tune yourself up? Because we also have this energy mix, right? Again, we have this opposition between Black Moon Lilith, in Sagittarius. What do you believe to be true? Can you believe that you have the ability through your own voice, through your own voice box, through your own cymatics, your sound, your vibrations, to be able to command in a new form of healing? So this is something to really be looking at as far as, because Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus, it is about sound, vibration, frequency, harmonics. And so this is something to be really emphasizing and looking at, because we still have Mars in between Mars and Taurus, which is about the body. Mars is taking action. And again, it's trining this energy with belief, Black Moon Lilith. So can you believe that you have the ability through your own frequency, through your own cymatics to heal yourself? Again, I'm not a doctor. These are just some of the things that have been called to be looked at during this really pivotal time, because Gemini is changing our thoughts and our mind and our perceptions about everything. And Black Moon Lilith is where she won't be controlled. It's where she won't be dominated. So perhaps old systems like pharmaceuticals, healthcare, these dominant systems that have been telling us about our health, about the way we can heal, about our own bodies, we're taking ownership, we're taking command of our own frequency. So this is something very new, a new periphery of how you see your body, how you see healthcare, how you see food, because also Taurus rules food and value and money. So you can look at all the systems that are happening right now, and all these systems are shifting and changing gears. And so, we also have this square happening with Uranus and Gemini with the nodes of the moon. And this is still going to be exact during this new moon in Gemini. So squares require something to shift and change. It's an uncomfortable energy that has to be made comfortable. So can you be comfortable with new ways of perceiving? Because Pisces rules the dream. It rules your intuition. It rules compassion and forgiveness. And the South Node, North Node is what we've come to learn, and South Node is what we've already mastered. And so a lot of us are really taking our healthcare seriously, and we're looking at new ways that we can take action daily, because Virgo is about everyday routines. What you do on the daily is going to influence your, not only your mindset, your behavior, your mantras, but how you see reality, right? And so this is the practice. Virgo, it's about practicing your tones. This is probably learning to sing, to hum, to harmonize, to use your voice in a benevolent way, Pisces, and to accept You don't have to agree with the reality that exists, but you have to accept where we all have been so that we can change and forgive maybe these systems. Have compassion for what we didn't know, what we were taught in early education. None of us knew. And this, with this Pluto and Aquarius is saying, hey, there are new powerful ways of perceiving your reality and group consciousness that perhaps we never have been able to see because Pluto is hidden power. And the hidden power can be in our own throat chakras, right? In our own ways we speak to ourselves, Gemini. So speak to yourself in a benevolent way, learning to accept yourself where you're at without the blame game, without the shame game, but say, okay, this is where we have been up into this now moment. How can we shift? How can we change? This is what these squares are denoting. Something needs to shift in your daily routines, and taking faith, taking action, really utilizing the power of compassion and forgiveness for everything and all things, including these AI systems, including, early education, these governing systems, healthcare systems. We don't have to agree with it anymore. We need to share our voice and to say, hey, there's a new way to do it. So share your truth. Maybe, if something's been working for you, you found some really incredible ways to heal your body, share that with the collective. We need to know your medicine because we're stepping into our own personal power, but we're helping each other through the process, right? And looking at things in a whole new way, a whole new periphery. And this is what Gemini is inviting you in to see your reality in a different way. It's actually not only inviting it in, it's kind of commanding it in because of the square. Something needs to shift and change. So how you talk to yourself on the daily, pay attention to what you're saying to yourself, paying attention to how you engage in your relationships with your neighbors, with your friends, Gemini, with new data, new information, see how it feels in the body, because there's so much information being shared right now. So the information that you're hearing about or listening to, how does it feel in the body when you listen to it? Right? Pay attention to your feelings because we still have Mercury, the ruling planet, in Cancer. And Cancer is about feeling. It's a water sign, and water is about emotion. So feel the truth within your body after you hear or perceive a thought or listen to a piece of data information, right? So this is what's coming through there. And again, we still have the sextile happening with Neptune, which rules Pisces. So Neptune is helping us envision a new dream. For me lately in the dream state, I've been really paying attention to my dreams, and boy, I've woken up very exhausted because I'm still in this now South Node Virgo. My dreams are telling me I still want to keep going the old way of doing things, right? I was in hospitality for so many years, so I keep dreaming about being in a restaurant and working, as a bartender, and then there's this confrontation deep in my subconscious, which has to do with Pisces, that I don't want to do that anymore. So I wake up exhausted, like, God, there's got to be a new way to do this. And so my dreams are telling me, look, you've got to trust the process. You've got to lean into the unknown, very much Pisces. And this is also Uranus, something different. There's a new way you want to be of service. You don't have to keep going back to the old, well-worn path. Yes, you were in hospitality for 30 years, and that's what you knew to do. That was, how you used to make money, how you were seen as a bartender, right? But now I want to be seen in a different way. So my dream state's really giving me answers to these questions, like, how do I move forward? How do I see myself in a new way? And so it's showing up in these symbols and old, relationship dynamics. Again, I'm still going back to bartending, but in my dream state, I can feel myself sort of battling, saying, no, you don't have to do this anymore. And so sometimes I wake up exhausted after going through this deep metamorphosis in my unconscious realms. But I give myself the opportunity to rest. I kind of lay in bed for a little bit. I process what was unfolding in my unconscious, what my dreams were telling me. I keep a dream journal, writing down just a few things that I've been really, paying attention to. And then before I go to sleep, I command my sleep state. Okay, say I want to go to the highest, most vibrationally balanced version self, but I'm realizing I have to go almost back in time to re-grid and metamorphosize my perception of work and service, right? So this to me has been deeply psychological, deeply metaphysical, beyond what I can perceive, right? It's changing my perception, but it's changing it from the inside out, and it's happening through the dream state. So put in the comments maybe below, you guys can relate. How have your dreams been? Have you been kind of working with these sort of subconscious dynamics that need to be brought to the surface to be seen, to be alchemized, to be transformed? Because Uranus is giving you a new periphery of yourself, of your reality, of how you want to be of service, of the information, the data that you've been assimilating, and it's starting to integrate it in a new way. So give yourself time and space, because Mars is still in Taurus. Slow down in the body. Stay with your breathing exercises. Stay with your meditation practices, your qigong, your yoga, right? Getting you into the body so that you can alchemize and feel and sense yourself in a new reality, because it's changing. Things are morphing really, really fast. And, where Mercury's getting ready, it's in its shadow period. It went in its shadow period on June 12th, meaning it's getting ready to go retrograde fully on the 29th. So Mercury, this happens 3 times a year where it goes retrograde. So for 3.5 weeks. So retrogrades, meaning you have to go inward. And because it's in Cancer, it's going inward into your families, really being able to face your family dynamics, because you might have inherited beliefs or ways of being of service from your family. So that's being looked at right now. Can you really look at your family objectively without the judgment? Again, Pisces just wants forgiveness. It wants acceptance. You don't have to agree with what happened or how your family raised you or some of the things you learned in early childhood, but can you accept it and can you forgive it? Because in that forgiveness, that's where the alchemy happens, so that you can change your mindset. You can change how you feel. You can change what you're thinking about and how you're processing your emotions. So, and Jupiter is still in Cancer right now. And at the end of the month, right when that retrograde is going to happen with Mercury, Leo is going to be Jupiter is going to be ingressing into Leo. So this is going to be a whole new frequency as well. We could talk about that at the end of the month, because there's also going to be a full moon in Capricorn that's going to be affecting, our jobs, our careers, how we take action in the physical. And so during this time period too, as I'm looking, Venus, our love and money planet, is already going to be ingressed into Leo. So having new creative inspiration, new creative ideas, new ways you want to express yourself based on what you know now, based on the frequency and the harmonics that you're emulating and that you're co-creating with source now, not in the past. Even though Cancer rules memory because it's ruled by the moon is helping us remember that there's a new way of doing things. It's inviting us in to revisit the past so that we can re-alchemize even the memory of what we were thinking about, because not all memories are to be relied upon. Every time you're thinking, having a memory, you're just thinking about the memory itself, not about the actual situation. So that's something that science is starting to show, especially when you're going into the quantum realms, that time is not linear, it's spiral. And so if you're in the now time moment, and every moment you can recreate your past and you can shift your future based on what you're doing now, based on the frequency you're at now. So it's time to feel the feels. And then when you feel inspired, you feel a new way you want to create, go take action on it, because Leo is there giving you support and wants you to shine your light, to be unapologetic, because it's going to be also opposing this Plutonian energy. So Pluto, it wants you to have your own personal power outside of what groups, situations, other people think about you, right? It's about you being able to learn and respect yourself, because it's also going to be trining this Neptune energy. It's time to be seen. It's time to share your own personal vision, despite what other communities think, despite what they, are telling you what to think. Because now is an opportunity to merge with new groups and organizations that are aligned more with your values, right? So, because there's change afoot. It's just depending on how you're processing it, how much you're allowing it in. It's mutable, so allow yourself to shift. We're in a mutable time. Mutable is about change. So there's so much change happening. I'm going to stop share here. How do you want to feel? How do you want to be? You're changing, you're metamorphosizing into a whole new being. So it's like the caterpillar is mourning its old self, but it's becoming something more transcendent than it was. So allow the process, slow down in the body, integrate your dream state, accept what is, again, it's not about agreeing with what is, but it's about accepting it and showing forgiveness and compassion for everything and all things around you, because we're all in this metamorphosis together as a human family, right? So that's what wanted to come in today. Check out Lives in Astrology for the full moon in Capricorn. And if you like any of this content, if any of this relates, please like, subscribe, share. It's good for the channel. It helps nurture the channel. It's like pouring water in a flower you like, right? So I'm really grateful that you spent your time, and just know that we've got this humanity. None of us are meant to do this alone. So I hope that you process this new moon in Gemini in a benevolent and awe-inspiring and new perspective way, because that's what's being supported right now with these planetary energies. See yourself in a new way, see your patterns in a new way, forgive your family dynamics. And yeah, we got this, soul fam. We're not meant to do this alone. Okay, thank you so much for being here. So much love. See you on the next transmission. Bye.